Okay, Janie, that'll be $45.
All I've got is a quarter, mister.
Well, you know what? This register only goes up to $1. I guess in 1886 they didn't have to have very high
That's
dollar
right.
registers.
$1 would be worth what now?
Oh, my
100?
goodness. Yeah,
$100 probably.
If you
So I'm going to put that in that little change thing
well,
there. And
thank you very much for the
That is
donation.
a neat old register. We're here at the beautiful Smith County Museum, and I love it. It's just gorgeous
So
here.
much to see.
There is, and you know, every time I come, there is something new, a new exhibit, or they've added something, or they've changed things around. So if you've been lately, or maybe a year or so ago, it's going to be totally different now. So
It has changed. And that lady, what is her name? Deanne Oberly?
yeah, I think that's her name.
Yeah, I believe that's her name. She's the curator here at the museum. Does a great job.
Yes, I'm telling you, I just am in awe of this place. It is improved and keeps improving every time I come over here.
Yeah, I really like it. Every time I come in, I see something new. Well, that's like you said, that's where we are at the Smith County Heritage Museum, and we're going to be going through some things. Janie,
Gosh,
what have we
we've
got
got-
set up for?
We have got a lot going on today. First of all, we're going to be talking about the upcoming chocolate extravaganza for Valentine's Day. And we're going to talk with our FCE County Council President, Janice Lynch, about that.
Am I banned from that?
Absolutely not. We'll sell it to anybody, even you.
Okay, well, I
Yeah,
know my
yeah.
wife made me come and pay you more money last time.
That's right, because you overfilled, but we'll talk about that
Okay,
later.
all right.
But anyway, then we're also going to mention something about, I think we've got the Chamber Banquet coming up before too long. The Smith County Beautification Awards. We've even got a new award for that. And I want to let everybody know about that because I think this is one of the things that we need to really push this year is for people to recognize others in their community who have done a lot to improve their property. So that's coming up. And gosh, we're going to look around this pretty museum and see a new room that Keith Williams has done over here, I understand.
Oh, yeah.
And
I got a sneak peek at that, and it looks great.
I did too, and it does.
we're
You've
gonna
got to come see it. If you
gonna
haven't
tell
seen
y'all-
it yet, you've got to see it.
Yeah, and we'll tell y'all a secret about how you might be able to use it. And who knows, we might run into some other folks here that we'll interview.
Well,
We're
yeah.
standing in, I don't know where most of this stuff came from, but
Is
I
it the
know
old Hickman store, maybe?
it says H.P. Nixon, and so that would be over around Hickman
Yeah,
on the
that's
square.
the old Hickman store, I
Yeah.
believe. So,
And I know there's a backdrop here that they found at the Neil Hunt store, and most people don't even remember that existed. There's a lot of stuff you can learn about Smith County in this building. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to try to educate you about a little bit about what's going on in February.
I love chocolate, Janice, I do. And I can't get this Tootsie Roll unrolled. But you know what? I have a feeling that the chocolate extravaganza that's coming up on February 14th, which is
Valentine's Day.
I have a feeling that it's the chocolate there. In fact, I know it's going to be even better than this little Tootsie Roll chocolate. So I'm going to put this down. I have with me today as our special guest the County Council President of the FCE Clubs, Family and Community Education Clubs, Mrs. Janice Lynch. And she is here to tell us a little bit about the upcoming chocolate extravaganza, which is going to take place on February 14th, Valentine's Day, and it's going to be at the Chamber of Commerce from 10 until 1 o'clock. So, Janice, tell them just exactly what is a chocolate extravaganza?
Okay, a chocolate extravaganza is all of our clubs over the county make things of chocolate. Everything is chocolate. It can be white chocolate or just dark chocolate, whatever kind. Brownies, candy, bonbons, bourbon balls. It's everything chocolate. And we're doing this to raise money for the Cancer Society's Relay for Life.
I tell you what, last year you were very successful.
We
You raised
were.
how much?
$1,000.
And what was interesting about last year was we sold out in 2.5 hours. I mean, we had dozens and dozens and dozens, and I mean, I can't tell you how many dozens of chocolate items, and we sold out just like that. Now, I did mention that it would be February 14th.
February 14th from 10 to 1 o'clock at the Chamber of Commerce. And you need to come early because we did sell out in 2.5 hours, so you won't be there. And be sure to get all these delicious chocolate things. Everything's homemade.
It is. In fact, I will say this. bought a whole container, and I also got a few pieces here and there and put $1 in here and there. And I will say this, I didn't taste anything bad. All of this stuff is freshly made. It is not store-bought, and it's absolutely delicious, and it's right in time for you to buy your sweetheart a box of chocolates, but these will be better because they're homemade. Now, Janice, tell them a little bit about the container. We're going to have a little...
We're going to have a dessert container, little foam container. It costs $5. You can put all the chocolate you want in it as long as you can close the lid.
That's the
You
key.
can't just keep piling it. You can pile it up, but you got to be able to close the lid, and it's $5.
And I'm
Very
telling you,
good.
you can get a whole lot of
Whole lot of
chocolate in
chocolate
there.
in there.
You've just got to do a little bit of organizing, you know.
Place it just right.
So people don't bring their own containers. They pay at the
Right.
door.
Pay at the door.
And we will provide it for you. In fact, we're planning on doing little stickers, little Valentine
Right.
stickers, so that you can give it to your sweetheart. There's everything from, like you said,
it.
bourbon balls.
Bourbon balls, the candy, the brownies. It's anything chocolate.
And those bourbon balls last year, oh
Maybe
my
some
gosh.
chocolate-covered cherries. I might make some of them.
Somebody asked about chocolate-covered strawberries.
Yeah.
I think the chocolate-covered strawberries, let me just share with them a picture of our flyer here. This is our chocolate extravaganza flyer, and it has a chocolate-covered strawberry on the flyer, so I
Yes.
think some people thought we were going to do it. That might be a good thing to bring, especially for
would be.
Valentine's Day. And but it can be anything at all. I mean, there's all just, I mean, so much. We don't know what's going to be brought, do we?
There's no telling.
Tell
All we
them-
know is it's chocolate.
Now tell them again why we're doing this.
We're doing it for the Relay for Life for the Cancer Society. This is our fundraiser every year for our FC clubs for the Relay.
And I'm telling you, we hope to beat our goal of $1,000 from last year. Is there anything you want to tell them about what FCE is? I mean, I know that a lot of people have probably heard of FCE and Family and Community Education Clubs, but tell them a little bit about the FCE clubs.
Okay. FCE does stand for Family and Community Education Clubs. There are several clubs in different communities in the county. We meet once a month. We do community work. We have someone come in and does educational programs. Sometimes we'll do a craft program. Sometimes we'll have a speaker. And we also, as I do a lot of community work. We help with a fair, the Jamie Evans fundraiser.
William Walton Days.
William Walton Days. My club has recently adopted the battered women's shelter in the county.
Genesis. No, Emmanuel House.
Emmanuel House. And are going to give toiletries and things for the women there.
Yeah, these are wonderful folks. There's men and women, and the dues to be a member, either a mailbox member or a regular club member, are just $5.
$5.
And it's the best time right now to join. And we invite you, whether you're retired or whatever, we invite you to be a part of this. These ladies and gentlemen are great, and they would love to have you as a new member. And we have so much fun. We're about to have a rally
are.
before too long in the
Yeah.
spring, and it's going to be a Mardi Gras celebration. We'll talk about that at one of our next tapings. Janice, thank you for what
you're
FCE does
welcome.
and for everything you have
welcome.
done.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Hey, we're still here at the H.P. Nixon store here at the Smith County Heritage Museum, and we're hoping that some customers come up. We were hoping that we'd be able to. Oh, hi, Barbara.
Hi, Bill. Do you see these lovely ornaments, and they have different pictures of areas of the community?
Yeah, let's see. This one is the William Orange General Merchandise, and
And
it's,
they're only
it's a-
$10. They're beautiful.
Yeah, $10. Let's
great
see.
gifts.
Citizens Bank. You know, Citizens Bank is having their 85th anniversary this year.
Wow.
And
I
guess
did not
and
know that.
Mr. Walter Glenn Birdwell is also having his 85th birthday.
How about that?
Yeah, and that's
a
something-
great thing to celebrate.
Let's see. W.W. Ward Home Place, and there's several more over there, aren't there?
Oh, yeah, there's a great
There's a whole stack of these.
selection.
These are $10 a piece, and they're great. Hey, I noticed you was walking by. Somebody told me you had something going on. You want to tell us about it?
We do. Well, I'm with the Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition, and we are a community coalition inviting anybody in the community to be a part of reducing substance abuse. And we will be meeting, we meet the second Wednesday of each month at the Chamber of Commerce, and we'll be meeting on February 12th, Wednesday morning, morning at 8:30 at the Chamber of Commerce. So we'd love to have folks come out and be a part of our meeting. Also, just as a reminder, we wanted to let folks know that we do have the drop boxes in the community now, where we're asking folks to clean out their medicine cabinet, make sure we don't have any diversion of unused, unwanted medications. So those lock boxes, those drop-off boxes are located at the Smith County Sheriff's Department and the Carthage Police Department, and they're open 24/7 for the convenience of our community.
You know, it's odd you mentioned that. I had a phone call just this morning, and a person asked me, said, where can I get rid of, they asked about drugs that they are not using, they wanted to get rid of because
Right.
it's really not safe to
It is not
flush them
safe.
or throw them out in the yard or anything like that because
Right.
it affects the environment in
It
a
does.
detrimental way. So I told her that she could go to the Sheriff's Department or down here to Carthage City, and
Yeah.
she was really thrilled about that. She was not aware of that, so you need to keep getting the word out.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate you taking that phone call and letting us be here to share that information with the
Well,
community.
that's okay. Now you owe me $30.
$30. Okay. Just put that on my tab,
There's
Bill.
only one problem. We're going to have to find Deanne because this restaurant only goes up to $1. So let's just go.
We want to give her some money.
All right.
Hey, I've got something exciting I want to tell everybody about.
Well, it's got to be something to do with Keep Smith County Beautiful. I
It
believe you.
is, it
yeah.
is.
You know what I got to do?
What?
We had the MLK Day, where you go
Martin
out.
Luther King Day of Service.
Of service, yeah. Well, I got to do something that I've been wanting to do for about 2 years. They had a
What?
little building over at the New Middleton School that needed painting, and I got to go over there and paint it red.
Did you really?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I knew you were going to paint that day. Let's tell them a little bit about the Martin Luther King Day of Service. It's a day on, not a day off. Even though a lot of us were off that day, we worked. And as a part of community service, we had a wonderful program about Martin Luther King.
Oh, I enjoyed
learned
it,
some,
yes.
even though we have this quite often, I learned so much about his philosophies and what he went through and the struggles and why it's so important to serve. And it was just a great day. Ann Wagner did a special program
She
for
did.
us.
She spoke really well.
I know. And we had 2 or 3, 20 or 30 people there, I think, didn't we?
Oh, there was at least 30 people there
Yeah.
because we set the chairs and tables up. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a great day. We first of all started off with a little breakfast, and then we did a little Martin Luther King program. Of course, Ann did that, and then we all dispersed and went to different areas. You painted the building at New Middleton as part of your day of service.
Right.
All of this was part of the Keep Smith County Beautiful program. Our goal is to have at least 3 work days a year where we go out and do various projects around the community to beautify our community. That's what brings people in, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's also part of the 3-star program and part
Yeah.
of what we do with the state. So
Exactly.
it helps us in a lot of ways to have people volunteer like that.
Exactly. We also did some cleanups. I don't know if you've been by the courthouse lately. Have you seen the courthouse lawn?
I have not. Well, I don't know.
Well, I tell you what, the whole thing was raked. All the
Oh,
leaves
yes.
picked
I
up.
saw that.
And sticks. A whole truck bed of Mayor Nesbitt's car. He'd raked also.
Yeah.
We did the blowing and the raking, the whole yard. It looks great. And I want to thank all those who helped. We also did 2 landscaping jobs, just cleaned up.
Well, now,
pulled
when I was
weeds.
going to New Middleton School, I saw some folks working over by the interstate at the county sign.
Yeah, that was my team.
Oh, okay.
Which was Ann's dad, Mr. Thomas, not Wagner, Mr. Thomas Stewart, and also Ginger Ramsey from the mayor's office. So that was my team. We also worked out by the bridge, and then we had a group that cleaned up along the rails to trails.
Oh,
Pathway.
yeah.
We had tons of trash that we picked up and debris. We also had a group that worked over here at the youth center. And they cleaned the median right there, picked up trash along the median right there, at the big intersection where Walmart is, right up from the chamber. So I just want to thank everyone who did that. Also, I want to tell you about something that the Keep Smith County Beautiful group is going to be doing very soon. And that is we're going to be having 2 awards this year. And this is property owner awards. Now, in the past, we have had, let me share this with you first, the Beautification Awards. And these awards are provided to either a business or businesses and residential homeowners, and it's for property improvements. it requires, this particular award is called the Smith County Beautification Award, and it is one of those awards that we want to see the change. So we require a before and after picture of the property. And this is one that, like, if you wanted to nominate yourself, you could. No one else can nominate you because you have to provide the before and after picture.
I see.
So let's say that someone cleaned up a fence row. You would want to take a picture before and after you picked up the trash, mowed it down, whatever, to make it look nice and tidy. Or maybe you did landscaping, so you would take a picture before and after. We've had one winner last year, or year before last, one or the other, of a couple who had completely gotten rid of a house and built a new one. And they
Really?
won. So, I mean, as long as it's property improvement, that's all that
And
matters.
it's anywhere in Smith County.
Anywhere in Smith County, but you have to nominate yourself for this. And we have the applications at the Extension office and at the Chamber of Commerce. So you can stop by or give us a call and we'll try to mail you one. Email, either way. But these are due in May 1st. But we've got a new one this year.
Oh, really?
Let me shuffle my paperwork around. This new one is called the Community Choice Awards. And the reason why we call it that, Bill, is that anyone in the community can nominate someone for this. Let's say that you did a lot of improvements on your property, but you just didn't want to brag on yourself.
Right.
And you didn't want to do the before and after pictures. But let's say that I'm your neighbor and I say, boy, you know, that Susie and Bill really did a good job on their property. I think I'm going to nominate them for the Community Choice Awards. You can. And that's what this is called, the Community Choice Award. And each winner, now the winners of this don't get a cash award, but they will get a sign in their yard saying that they were a Community Choice Award winner by the Smith County, Keep Smith County Beautiful Committee. The nominations for this are due also on May 1st. And we do have these applications which are available at the Chamber of Commerce and at the UT Extension Service at our office. You can call 735-2093 at the
Right.
Chamber, or you can call 735-2900 at the Extension office. We'll be glad to either email you or mail you a copy, snail mail you a copy of either of these applications. But I want to encourage you, you know, there's so many people out there that work really hard on their lawns, and sure, it's a great feeling to do that, but it's so nice to be recognized.
That's true, and I think this is a wonderful program for that. And all of us, most of the people in Smith County take very much pride in their property, and they take good care of it, and I think this is a good way to recognize that.
And you know, Bill, this is the great time of the year to take a before picture.
Yeah, that's true.
Everything's dead, and it looks so, bleh, you know, it just looks dead right now. So take your before picture now, which is one of the reasons why we're talking about this right now rather than, you know, like in April. So take your before pictures now. And for those of you who want to be involved in the Community Beautification Awards, you need to take your before pictures now. And then right after you mulch and plant and weed eat and all that in the spring, that's when you complete this. And make sure that these applications are at the Extension office. We're located at 125 Gordonsville Highway, right next to the Citgo station. And we're kind of almost catty-cornered from across the street from the electric company.
Right.
Upper Cumberland Electric. And we're over in Carthage. Our number is 735-2900. Call me if you have any questions. I'll be glad to answer anything that I can. But let us know. We'll send you an application.
Well, thank you for telling us about Keep Smith County Beautiful. Hi, we're standing in the Citizen Soldiers section of the Smith County Heritage Museum, and I've got a gentleman here with me, and I've asked him to come and tell us about some things that are going on in a little town next to us called Granville, Tennessee. And if you haven't been there lately, you would be surprised at what's going on in Granville. Is that not correct?
That's correct, Bill. Thank you for having me. I'll tell you just a little bit about what we've got going on for the next 2 or 3 months, as a matter of fact. Right now, we're right in the middle of our Granville Valentine dinner play. We do a Mayberry-themed play. We do it at Christmas and at Valentine's. We take the old Mayberry TV script and kind of rewrite it to fit Granville's needs. We refer to it as an off-Broadway play, kind of way off Broadway.
It's kind of way off.
Way
okay.
off Broadway, but actually the first section of the play, first segment, the first 30 minutes is done in the old store building. And then we go into the dining area and have a meal, Southern style meal. I think they're serving pork tenderloin and all the trimmings for this meal. And then the second act of the play is there while you're still seated. It'll go on through the 13th and 14th. So if you'd like reservations, call 931-653-4151. Some other things we got coming up. April the 5th, we're going to have our Genealogy Festival and Media Day. We did this last year in 2 dates, and we're combining it in one now. And for any of you that were there, it was each of the festivals was good, but we thought in combining them that it would be a little bit better deal.
Yeah. Well, now, the play, to move back a little bit, I attended one of the plays before. About how many people can you accommodate at one of these plays?
50 per seating.
Okay.
And we're limited in our seating. But at Christmas, we did 11 performances, and they were all basically sold out. So we somewhere between 500 and 500. We did 11 performances. We're doing 10 of this play. We're doing 10 performances this time.
So if you want to come, it's likely that you'll be able to get a seat.
Probably. Now, I do know Valentine's is booked. Valentine's, I think both plays, but the Thursday, the night before, we're not. There were still some spaces. And plus next Wednesday are matinees. We do Wednesday matinees. We have a lot of, as we all are getting older, and we have a lot of folks that don't like to drive at night. And so we do matinees. We actually had a tour group that came from Butler County, Kentucky. They rode 3 hours on a tour bus to come at Christmas, and seemed to have a good time.
Oh yeah, well I know the time I came, it was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
You got some pretty famous people as actors, I believe. Aren't you Andy?
I'm Andy, and I'm not famous. I'm Andy.
You're famous around here.
There you go. And actually, in this series, they actually sent me off to Harvard. Harvard to veterinary school. So I'm going to vet school.
So that's wonderful.
Yeah, well, they assured me that when they put that Harvard sweatshirt on me, that was the closest I'd ever been to anything related to Harvard.
So you're pretty Ivy League down there in Granville.
Right. We have Rich Caleri plays Floyd Lawson, the barber. Betty Caleri, his wife, she plays Thelma Lou. Sam Moore, local attorney here in Carthage, he's Barney. And Gomer, we have a gentleman by the name of Lakeland Barham. He's a school teacher in the Jackson County school system, and he will, you just laugh yourself to death at him. And let's see, Liz Huff Bennett, she plays Aunt Bee and a couple other characters. And Kay Fields Loftus, she actually writes our plays, and she's Helen, she's my girlfriend. And then Randall Clemens, he's the town drunk. He's Otis. So he stays in jail a lot.
That's interesting. I saw one of the flyers that you had, and it showed Mr. Clemens there behind bars. I thought that was pretty good.
Right. He probably has the fewest lines that are written, but probably says as much as anybody. He kind of lives it up. Some other things we've got going on, Bill. Of course, each Saturday night we have our live bluegrass music. We'll have our 6th anniversary in April, along with the Genealogy Festival. Any of you that haven't been out on Saturday night, we have a different bluegrass group each Saturday night. It's kind of mini Grand Ole Opry. We have commercials. It's taped. We're actually now on 23 radio stations from New York to Kansas. We're on the internet, on the World Wide Web, working on a deal. Chris Neely he's vice president over that end of the operation, and he's working on a deal with a gentleman up in New York that owns some 50 radio stations, and we're very close to getting on them. They taped the show somewhat as this show is done, and then it's aired the following week at different times. It's aired here in Smith County on Saturday morning at 7 o'clock on the local radio station,
104.1,
104.1, 7 to 8 every Saturday morning. But we have there again. We do a dinner and the music. It's $15. If you don't want to come for the dinner, there's no charge to come and listen to the music. We make sandwiches, whatever, short order for any of those people. Something also, Bill, our homestead that I think this is our 3rd year that we have the homestead. A couple of things. It will open again in March, but the second we every 3 months we flip the decorations or the decor. And a woman's work is never done is what it'll open up as in March. And then in June, this is something I'm kind of excited about. It's getting ready for the fair.
Okay, yeah.
We're going to have the old house decorated, set up. Everybody's getting all their stuff ready, their canned goods and everything to get ready to go to the fair. So
It sounds like a lot of fun.
a lot of fun. Our store's open Wednesday through Saturday from 9 to 3, and then from 9 on Saturday. Homestead will open up again the 1st of March.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody out there saw the show. We did a segment there in Granville last summer, and I can vouch for the ice cream. It's really good.
Ice cream's good. And also over to Homestead, the Transportation Museum, there's some of the neatest antique cars, tractors,
Oh, yeah.
memorabilia, antique toy selection. In fact, there's a gentleman brought an A model in the other day. I've never seen a car anything in the caliber of that, but there's some high dollar iron there. Anybody that's into old cars, there's a little something in Granville for everybody.
It's only 1 mile from the Smith County line.
Right.
And I also like to say Historic Granville is a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and we want to thank you guys for supporting us in what we do. And I know we're going to be working together on a lot of things that happen here in Smith County and in Carthage. And so we thank you for that. Is there anything we've missed, possibly?
I think that covers just about everything that we've got going on between now and June. If you're so interested, we have 3 campgrounds around Granville. We have cabins. We have about 3 or 4 bed and breakfasts, so we can accommodate you if you want to come make a weekend of it. We're run by 157 volunteers. Anybody that would consider being a volunteer, all we ask for is 3 hours a month. We actually have volunteers that live as far away as Atlanta, Georgia, Hopkinsville, Kentucky, Clarksville, Tennessee, Murfreesboro. People drive from all over to help. I'll tell you something we've got coming up. The last Wednesday of this month, which I don't know what the date is, but we have a fruit tree and grapevine trimming demonstration. David Glover, we did this last year, a local county agent. Mm-hmm. David's getting ready to retire, so I hit him up. We did it in March last year. I said, "Look, David, we got to trim those grapevines one more time." So he's coming the last Wednesday in February rather, to trim our grapevines. Anybody that's out there that'd like to come, there's no charge. If you happen to have a few grapevines, fruit trees, or whatever, David is very good at showing you how to do it properly.
And this is the perfect time to be doing
Perfect
something
time
like
to be
that.
doing it. Sure is.
Well, Stan, thank you very much
Thanks,
for
Ben.
coming.
Appreciate
I
it.
appreciate you coming over here to the Heritage Museum. And that's another thing I'd like to mention. If you haven't been through the Heritage Museum, it's a good place to be. A lot of things to see here and exhibit. Same thing in Granville.
Well, I am here with one of our very special guests, or maybe we're your guest. We're with Deanne Oberly. And Deanne, you're the manager,
I'm the curator.
the curator of the Smith County Heritage Museum. We're very excited to be here. As I said early on when we started, it changes every time I come, and it gets better and better and better. And with the addition of the new space that you have for rental, that's going to be the great room.
That's right.
That is going to be wonderful. I have a little something here I want to share with you. In fact, I think you're going to get to see a little more of this too. But we have a piece of folk art that was made by who?
This was made by Keith Williams. He's our board president.
Okay, now Keith is a good friend of mine, and I asked him, is this supposed to be one of the Robertson guys? He said, why, sure, but actually, this is a toy, a folk art toy that many children used to play with years and years ago, and it's really a neat little toy, and Keith just made this, and so I think they're going to display it here somewhere at the museum, because this was a toy that was really important to younger children many, many, many years ago.
Right.
That it is. Deanne, this is just great. Tell us a little bit about what's been done here in the museum. Well, first of all, what are your hours?
Well, our hours are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Unfortunately, we're only open 12 hours per week right now. Thursday from 12 to 4, Friday and Saturday from 10 to 2. And having said that, now we have a very important function coming up this month in February 22nd, from 10 to 6 p.m. We've got a membership drive coming up, and just like they have on PBS, we need to increase our membership. And so this year we're just inviting everyone in the community to come out and to see what's going on at the museum and to talk about how we can better benefit our museum and how they can become a bigger part of our museum here. We have a wonderful volunteer program, a docent program that we're adding this year. We've got several new programs that are going on, an education program, and so we just want to make sure that the community knows how they can better become involved.
Now, you said increase your membership. What? Tell us about a membership with the museum.
A membership involves, of course, donating a little bit of money. And of course, whenever a person donates money, they want to know what they can get in return. Of course, the first thing that they're getting in return is to help us preserve their heritage. And unlike many museums, our museum is a museum containing artifacts specifically pertaining to Smith County's heritage. So when a person donates, whether it's an artifact or anything else here, it is an artifact that is just pertaining to their families.
And it's wonderful, just like this women's heritage area right here with the old cabinet. And I can remember my great aunt, who was 101 when she passed away. I remember her having a wooden one similar to this right there in her kitchen, because that's where they stored everything. Right. And all of these items either have been donated or you've purchased them, I assume?
No, we don't purchase anything.
So everything's been donated?
Everything
Great.
has been given to the museum. And I wanted to let everyone know that that this year we're creating new programs so that we can actually give back to our members. So we have new programs such as when our members visit, they can actually bring their wireless devices and that they can tap into our system and they can find out more about the objects rather than just reading an object card here. They can actually tap into the system and they can read more about the provenance or the history of the item.
And what the item is.
And what the item is, the history behind it, what family it came from, and if they also want to just surf and get on the internet and hang out with us here, they can use the Wi-Fi system for that as well. We're also going to be offering free genealogy website lookups.
Oh, wow.
For our members too. So it's just kind of like any other kind of membership that you might, like if you belong to a gym and you pay a little membership to that gym, you have benefits there. It's the same thing with the museum. You pay a membership due here, and then you get benefits as well.
I heard someone mention something about an art walk.
Yes.
Tell us about the art walk.
Well, every year during Christmas open house, we also have an art show of sorts. And this past year, we had our first one, and it starts out very small, just like other shows do. But each year, we hope to add more arts and crafts and more artists to that. So we'll be having artists out in our performance hall here and artists as well out on the square.
That sounds wonderful. I'm telling you, I know I've said it over and over, but this place is amazing, and we thank you for letting us tape out here. I know that Billy has got some more questions for you, so we're going to segue into letting you talk to him and share more about the museum.
Well, I had some questions about when we were looking around the museum here about some of the exhibits. Now, which exhibit are we in right now?
This is World War I.
Okay, World War I. Mm-hmm. And help educate me here. Like there's a uniform over there. Here, some of these uniforms behind us here, I know that you said this was Korean War.
That's Korean.
And but in this case is all World War I. So that's
yes.
the helmet that they used to use. And it says William Young Sr. there.
This is.
That's Lieutenant Young is pictured in the World War I uniform. So he is a resident of Smith County that participated in World War I. Is that
yes,
correct?
Actually, this is Faith Young's husband's father.
Ah, I see.
So this is the Youngs of Dixona.
Okay, I got you. So
Uh-huh.
there's Smith County folks then. And,
That's right.
So when you come here, you can see that, and there's evidently the old kit bag that they sung
Yes.
about in the World War II songs.
Yes, that's right.
Packed up and they left and
That's
went off.
right.
And if you come here to the museum, there's shells and there's rifles, and
That's right.
you can see all of these, some of the medals that people earned while they were in
That's right.
in the service of the country.
That's
so
right.
That's pretty interesting. I think we're going to move on maybe to another section. Was there anything else
Yes.
about World War One?
Yes, and I'd like to add that I know that, both men and women, of course, are interested in wartime, but I think as a woman, what I found most fascinating about it was going through all of the letters that the men wrote home to their mothers and wrote home to their wives. It was just heart-wrenching, because of course back then there wasn't the means of communication. My husband right now is in Afghanistan. He's in Kabul, and we're fortunate that we can communicate by email just about every day, and maybe I might get a phone call maybe every third day. But those letters, for me, going back, are just fascinating, and I would like to invite folks out to come to the museum, and if they would ever like to go through some of these letters, I'd be more than happy, to
would
show
be-
them these letters.
that
It's
would be
just
great.
fascinating.
Yeah, well, for all those folks out there and myself, express to your husband our thanks for his service,
Oh, thank you.
because that is a wonderful thing that he does for our country and for our folks around here. Those letters and stuff, things like that. I know you mentioned before that you can tap into the Wi-Fi here and you can actually pick up some more information about some of the exhibits. Is that
You can.
Can you do that in this area?
You can, and I'm working on that like crazy as we speak now. And what I hope to be able to do, I don't know if you've ever gone through magazines now and you see this funny little symbol, and it will say if you have a smartphone that you can scan
A QR
it.
code, yeah.
A QR code, that's right. And so what I'm working on is establish. You say it.
Establishing.
Thank you. QR codes for many of our artifacts so that you can go through and scan that, and then more information will come through.
Okay, so it's very educational as well. Then.
That's right.
And it's unfortunate, but our children are having to be taught so many things, and they're having to learn about iPads and iPods and
That's
how
right.
to get on the internet, and we're doing Common Core testing. And
That's right.
sometimes I think maybe our history and our heritage, especially local, sometimes is not emphasized because of what they're having to learn. So this is a good place to come and learn about Smith County and the people that help make it what it is.
That's right. And, whether we like it or not, our kids are wired that way these days. I mean, they want to be visually geared, and they have the technology, and why not use it?
So you can make it exciting for them because they
That's
can
right.
pop the QR code and it'll pop up what's going on, and they can read and maybe even have some videos and things like that.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Okay, I had some other sections I wanted to look
Let's
at.
go.
So, okay. Okay, we're in another section of the museum with Deanne Oberly, and where we're at now is actually kind of a music section. And I know over in Granville they have Jimmy Thompson over there. He was a resident there. But what a lot of people don't realize is that we at Smith County have D. Ford Bailey.
That's right.
And I think, Deanne, you could tell us maybe about Mr. D. Ford Bailey and what he did and accomplished.
I can tell you about D. Ford. D. Ford Bailey was one of the first original Grand Ole Opry members, and he was known as the harmonica wizard. He was just incredible on the harmonica. He was really ill as a little boy, and his mother gave him a harmonica to play with instead of a toy. And he would listen to the trains go by, and he would try to imitate it. And he got so good that he made it sound just exactly like a train. And he could also do the sound of the hounds and the hunt sounds, dog hunt sounds.
Yeah, because that was really popular back then. A lot of folks fox hunted.
Fox hunting, that's right.
Coon hunted.
That's
and,
right.
And any kind of animal that was out there,
Oh.
they were after them.
It was just incredible. And he he became a Grand Ole Opry member, and he was a performer there, and he was just an incredibly talented performer.
Yeah, and I know we had a celebration here a few years back, and I think his son came up.
He did.
I'm sorry to say he recently passed
He
away.
did.
And he was a musician as well. He played
Was.
bass at the function that I remember.
He did.
But that family, I guess, is very musical, or
They
has
are.
always been. Yeah.
They are. I was so fortunate to have them here, and his son came up, D. Ford Bailey Jr. came up, and if y'all missed that concert, you missed a great show. I had the best time. But Mr. Bailey Jr. and let's see, I had 2 or 3 of his grandsons that came up, and in fact, they set up right here, and they played all the old songs. They played a lot of the old R&B, which I grew up on and just loved, and we just had a great time.
So you do concerts when you have folks that want to
We
come in and do
do.
that. That's a wonderful thing.
We do.
There's another room that you have out here. We're going to try and get some footage of it. I know you've got it kind of closed off right now.
That's right.
That you've just basically built. And why don't you tell us about the performance hall and
All right.
and if it's available for the public and what it costs and all of that.
Okay. Well, what it is we have another third of the museum that had been a big storage area for us. And as time went on and as the artifacts that were back there were conserved and brought out into the collection, we no longer needed that big storage area. And I like to sing a little bit, and as I was back there, I'd sing, and I'd think, boy, this would be a great room, to do something with. And I think, well, what are we going to do with it? And the museum really has needed a way to help support itself other than just relying on the generosity of the public.
Which, by the way, every person in Smith County needs to become a member of this and support this museum because it's housing our heritage. But anyway, to
That's
go
right.
on with the great room there.
Yes. And so I really thought a lot about it, and I went to our board of directors, and we put a plan together, and it took almost about 3 years to deconstruct that room and to put together a plan to have a performance hall remodeled or constructed, and so that's what we've done.
What I like about it is when you look around the room, you've got the light coming in those windows back there in the back, and it gives really good natural lighting coming in. And then, of course, you've left the beams exposed, the original
Yes.
beams to the building, so you can see what the construction was of this
Yes.
building originally. Originally, this building was the J.E. Stevens
W.E.
Company?
Stevens.
W.E. Stevens
Yes.
Company. And I know when I was a small child, they were still actually working here, and they had the sewing machines in here. And
Yes.
if you come in and look on the floor, it's oak flooring, and it's got the narrow
It's just beautiful.
boards, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And that's what's in this performance hall back here.
Yes.
So the sound is really great. Notice you've got it decorated with an old window opening on the side that come off of one of the I guess you'd call them mansions that was located around here.
We did. Keith Williams, who is our board president, is just so talented and so gifted, and we both had sort of a vision about what we wanted that room to look like. We wanted to strip it down and to take it back to what the W.E. Stevens building looked like originally, and it was just so beautiful that all it really needed was to have all of the modernization, the drop ceiling and what have you taken out of it. And then he said, you know what? I know where this great architectural piece is that we can salvage and put here, and I know where this is, and I'd try to sneak in there, and he'd just run me out. No, and so, I had to spend all my time, away from the dust and the mold and all the stuff that he didn't want me to be exposed to, while he was working in that room. But it's been so worth it, and we're so excited to finally be able to present that to the county, and we hope that everyone will come out and utilize it and, bring their families out, families out and utilize it as well.
Well, now, do you know what the charge is that you're going to have? Like, if you wanted to come in and say, I wanted to have a birthday party or some kind of party honoring somebody in my family, what would that cost me for the night?
Well, it will vary depending on what amount of time you want to use the room for, whether or not you want to have tables and chairs and set up, take down. Since we're a museum, we have to be sort of strict on all of those sorts of things, but we're going to be very competitive.
Well, tell me this. What's the phone number and the contact again? I know you've said it several times, but we need to do that. What's the phone number to get in touch?
The phone number to the museum here is 615-735-1104.
Okay, so if they call that number, they can find out about renting the room.
They can.
Do you happen to know, I didn't ask you this before, the dimensions?
It will hold about 250 people seated, and I believe a little bit more than that with other configurations.
So you got a 200-plus venue. What I down at the chamber, we've got a venue down there that people can rent, and I think what you've done is you've presented to us something that's in the center between what we have down there and what's at the Ag Center. So if someone wants to have a party or a get-together of some sort, they can do that. So that's wonderful. One other thing I noticed here in this exhibit, we've got the Wilburns and some of the local singers and the Happiness Quartet, Cumberland Valley Singers, the Wilburn family have several albums on the wall. And those folks started many years ago. Mr. Jackie and Miss Elaine started out, and now I know the legacy is going on because they're still in the gospel music business and still performing. So people can come here and they can see that as well. And some of the instruments you've got, I saw there's an auto harp.
That's an auto harp.
And then is that a dulcimer?
It is.
A dulcimer, and then there is a banjo. And what is this just another version of an auto harp here?
It is, and I can't remember exactly what it's called. I'd have to put my glasses on to look and see. That's awful.
But there's a lot of things to see here, and it's very interesting. So if you want to get educated about what went on in Smith County in the past, you need to come over here to the museum. It's clean, it's well lit, it's well cared for, and I think you would enjoy it. I think we're going to move on maybe to another section. You know, a lot of times when people say politics, they go, but here in the museum, we can talk about politics and it not be that way.
That's right.
For instance, back behind us here, there's a portrait of Mr. Cordell Hull, and a lot of folks probably know this, but maybe they don't know this, but he was a Nobel Peace Prize winner. I got it backwards there. And he was also Secretary of State, and he was instrumental in actually the reconstruction of Europe after World War II. So, and he came from Tennessee, and his house is just down the street from where we are, the Cordell Hull home. And so if you want to learn about some of the famous folks that are involved in history, you can know that they came from Smith County. You know, when you grow up in a rural area and you grow up in a small town, a lot of times you think, well, I just don't have an opportunity or a chance to do anything. And then you see somebody like this and you go, well, he grew up in a small town, and look what he did. He literally changed the world, and he did a lot of good things. Also, if you go down the wall here, you see some of the other folks that are involved in politics. Senator Albert Gore Sr. was a big mover and shaker in Washington, D.C., and did a lot of things here for the state of Tennessee while he was in office. And then his son, Al Gore Jr., was Vice President of the United States. He was a Nobel Peace Prize winner. So, you know, you can have roots in a little town and have family ancestry from a little town like this, and you can still do great things. And if you want to hear about this and see all these folks, they need to come to the museum, don't they?
Come visit the museum.
All right. While we were here at the museum, there was a piece that was especially, meant something to me. If you look behind us here, you'll see a backdrop, and it's a full canvas backdrop, and it has some of the folks that are advertising on it. Well, this was found in the Neil Hunt store, and that was at Lancaster Hill, just on this side of the hill. I was born and raised in Lancaster, and I used to go to this store when I was a little boy and see this hanging up, and I just wanted to mention it. It was found in the store when they bought it, and they started cleaning it out, and they brought this over here to the museum, and I was just really fascinated by it. I do not know of a lighthouse anywhere in Smith County, but the closest thing we've got is here in Carthage by the river. There's a pumping station that looks like a lighthouse, but this was something that was done well. If we looked up, Lillard Yeaman was the sheriff, and that was many, many years ago when I was a small child, so you know that was a long time ago. If you want to learn about things like this, go to www.smithcountyheritagemuseum.org. That's www.smithcountyheritagemuseum.org, and you can learn all about some of our history.
Quit copying my paper. Excuse me, my slate.
Oh, man.
Isn't this neat?
Yeah, it is, and this won't be the same for you, but in about 1957, I sat at one of these for the first time because that was when I was in the first grade. You didn't go to kindergarten in Lancaster back then, and first thing I wondered is, what is that hole for?
It's for an inkwell.
It's for an inkwell, but I didn't know that back then because by that time we had graduated up to using number 2 pencils.
That's right,
So-
and
so-
not
so we were
chalk
really-
and a slate board like
Right.
these.
We were really modern, so what I can say. But I sat at one of these. We're still at the Smith County Heritage Museum, and we just thought you'd like to see the schoolroom display that they have here. It's really neat, and if you're my vintage, you remember this stuff. You remember what it was like. Anyway, we're so glad that you came and visited with us, and we've looked around the museum, and we met Deanne, and we had, let's see, Stan Webster was a guest, and
Talked about Granville and
talked about Granville.
the plays that are coming up. Don't forget to get your reservations quickly.
Yeah, that's right, because Mayberry is alive and well over in Granville. And then, let's see,
And love is in the air.
Love is in the air. That's right. It's February, Valentine. And
And
then,
speaking of Valentine, the chocolate extravaganza on Valentine's Day.
oh, that's right.
Don't forget to get your chocolate for your sweetheart.
And make sure that you can close your lid. Now, I closed my lid, but anyway, I get no slack on that. Anyway, it's really good, and I'll tell you what, some of the best chocolate I ever ate.
Me too, I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
And
All
then,
homemade.
Let's see, who else? Barbara Knapp came by with the Drug Coalition and did some announcements.
And the ornaments, the 2013 ornaments.
They are here at the museum if you want to pick those up. And they are collector's items, and over the years you can build a collection of them.
And then we we showed the museum, Deanne.
And so there's a lot to see around here. The biggest thing, I guess, was the performance hall that I was really
Yes.
impressed with that.
Unbelievable.
And you can actually rent that. Deanne told us the price and everything. So we're glad we came here. Let's see, in the future, what's happening? We're going to have Heritage Days at Granville, of course. Also got coming up, we're going to have a chamber banquet here just coming up pretty soon. And we're doing the planning for that right now. And some of these.
That's going to be fabulous.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So we've got the chamber banquet happening, and then we don't think about it, but all the way up in July, guess what? Bluegrass Festival time. So
Yes.
when this weather is cold and you're sitting here like this and you're shivering, think about how it's going to be in July. You'll
That's
be
exactly
wishing
right.
for some cool weather.
That's right.
then.
Don't forget the end of this month, too. David Glover, our county director and county ag agent, will be retiring the end of February, and he's going to do one last pruning class, which he's great at, down at Granville, and it's the last Wednesday in February. So if you're listening to this and it's not quite the last Wednesday in February, get down there, especially if you have trees that need to be pruned, right?
Oh, yeah, because that's the exact right time of year to do it in the following few weeks, and
Yeah.
he can give you some real good
And
pointers.
you'll get to say goodbye to David, too. We're going
Yeah.
to miss him. He's just awesome.
Done
David,
an
goodbye.
amazing job over the years.
He has. And he knows so much about plants and insects. And I tell you, we've had a lot of insects brought in
Oh,
our office. But
I listened to one of his talks one time. David, you scared me to death. I come to the impression after his talk that we were going to be standing in a field full of grass with no trees around, but he assured me that that's not going to be quite that bad. So
that's true. And we've had snakes brought in and spiders.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like spiders and snakes, but that's not what it. Oh, never mind. I've
Well,
started
at the
to sing, but
chamber, the
anyway.
foresters had a meeting today, and when they left, there was a great big green bug laying on the table up there. So these guys, they have to deal with this stuff, you know. And
It's all a part of the job. I want to mention, Bill, too, that don't forget, now is the time to get your applications for the Smith County Beautification Award and the Community Choice Award for property improvement, both residential and homeowners residential. So, did I say residential twice?
yes, you did.
Okay, I'm sorry. Business and residential. And so we do have the applications at the Extension Office and at the Chamber of Commerce. So give us a call. We'll get one to you.
And if there's anything you want to know about and you can't figure it out, go to the Chamber website, www.smithcountychamber.org, and you should be able to find the information on there, or call us. And I tell you what, those folks over at the Extension Service are real helpful too.
We try to be.
And what's that number again?
That number is 735-2900.
2900. And if you can't get the information at one of those two places, it's probably something you didn't want to know anyway.
That's true.
So anyway, give us a call if we can help. We are so glad that you went through the museum with us, and we hope you'll come with us next month. Next month, we got a special treat for you. We're going to go through the court system and the jail complex. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, if you have questions you want answered, just give us a call, and we might ask the questions to the judge.
Yeah, well, and we want to be real nice to the judge.
Yeah, we gotta
I
be
don't,
nice.
I don't want him to give me a night stay in there. So.
Me either.
So anyway, you come with us next month. We're going to the jail complex, and we thank you very much. God bless you. Have a good winter.
Bye-bye.